In this video, we're going to do a quick overview of the service workspace that's in your Rumbleseed account. Now you can access service from My Garage, and of course you can click service. So really, service is a dedicated workspace to see all of the service and restoration records that you have created in your Rumbleseed account. And just like maintenance, there's two ways to create a service record. By clicking the service record button in the top right, which we'll go through that workflow in a moment's time. Additionally, you can also create a service record directly from one of your items that you've added to your collection. So of course, if I go to an item and go to the edit mode, I can scroll down to service and restoration, and here I can create a service record. So again, two ways to create a service record. The reason there's a dedicated service workspace, if you have a bunch of items in your collection, this is one way to view all of your service records. So here at the very top, you can click this checkbox at the very top, right underneath the heading, and that will select all of your service records. That will tell you how many records you have. You can download your records in a CSV file if you wish to edit, modify, and look at that data offline in a spreadsheet. You can also delete any selected service records. Now, of course, you can select all, and then you can choose to deselect certain records to, again, really target select the records you want to either download or delete. So as we move to the right, of course, we have the ability to create a service record. But before we do that, let's take a look at the rest of the workspace here. There is a total service and restoration dollar figure here. And this is a sum of all of the service records that you have created. So it's one way to keep an eye on your service restoration spend. Now you also have access to a filter and sort menu here, so you can choose to sort by certain service providers. So a service record will be associated to an actual provider, so restoration shop or whoever's doing the service for you. So you can really drill down by a specific service provider and see all of the records related to that particular organization. And then you also have the ability to filter by a specific item. So if you want to look at all the service records for a specific car or item in your collection, you can make those selections here. And I'll point out you can multi-select as well. So if there's related items, you can make multiple selections. All right, now let's look at the rest of the workspace here, which really is a service record card. And that's what you see here. So a card has a title, it shows you the associated item, and then there's a quick description if you added a note. And then you can see when the maintenance was, or the service rather, was performed. So the performed on date. You can see the cost that's associated. You can see if there's any files associated to that record. And you can also see the service provider who performed the service or restoration. And of course, you have the ability to click edit, or you can click delete if you wish to permanently remove that service record. Now, when I click the Create Service Record button at the very top right, that's going to introduce you to a dedicated modal where you can then build a service record. Now, as a reminder, anything with a red asterisk and a red outline is a required field. Everything else is optional. So here at the very top, you'll enter in a title for your service record, something concise, something that will resonate, make sense to you. Then you can choose an associated item. So this is an item from your garage in which the service record is associated with. Next, you can log notes. This is a great place to put critical information, important information for record keeping purposes. Then you can choose a service provider. Now, if you're building out a service record and you realize you haven't yet created a service provider, well, you'll just click the top option which says Create Service Provider, and here you can log a name and a description to add a new provider to be available in that dropdown. Next, you can optionally add a cost for this particular record, the date in which the service restoration was performed, and then you can add files. This is a great place to put things like invoices, maybe before-after photos, any kind of photos or media that's important to log and keep track of. This can even include documents, so even spreadsheets. Maybe there's a checklist your service provider provided documentation. You can associate right to this record and keep that tethered to this recording. So that's the process of creating a service record. It's pretty straightforward and simple as you can tell. The beauty is if you've built a service record even in this workspace, it will reflect when you go to your collection and you go to edit an item. So no matter where you're creating it, it's going to be visible with the item. or of course, you can do a dedicated view of all of your service records by going to this service workspace. So that's been an overview of the service workspace. If you have any questions or you need help with this or any of the other functions inside of Rumbleseat, as always, make sure to reach out to the support team, support@rumbleseat.com.